Hey everybody, I want to say thank you for tuning in once again. My name's Joanna M. Cameron. I'm a mental health therapist and a life coach, and I'm bringing you mental health tips and life coaching tools that are going to help you navigate through your everyday life. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that 1 out of 4 Americans experience each and every day of their lives. You may actually know somebody, or this actually may be you. I'm talking today about depression and helping people to identify the difference between am I depressed or am I just sad? How do you know? Well, the DSM, which is the Diagnostical and Statistical Manual that I, as a therapist, use to help diagnose and determine if somebody's actually experiencing a mental illness. And I'm going to give you 8 different things to look for to determine if depression is actually something that you might be experiencing. To be diagnosed with clinical depression, you have to be experiencing at least 5 out of these 8 things, and for a period of at least 2 weeks or more. So if you're just experiencing a couple of these different things and they're not really that bad and to the extent of where it happens all day, every day, then you could potentially just be sad or experiencing some symptoms of depression that you may want to start monitoring. Number 1, depressed mood most of the day, nearly every single day. So that's something that you really want to pay attention to. We all get sad. We've all had moments of sadness that bring us down. Sometimes it's just hormonal, especially in women, where we just don't quite feel ourselves, and emotionally we may feel a little more sad than other days, and we may even be a little bit teary. But it passes with sadness. With depression, not so much. And there's a diminished interest of things that we once found pleasure in, where we really just don't have a desire to engage or to be active and do the things that we once enjoyed doing. With sadness, once we kind of get over that initial moment of being sad, or the incident that caused us to be sad passes, we're able to get back to doing the things that we actually loved to do before and really look forward to it. With depression, it doesn't really happen that way. We lose the interest and we don't really even care if the interest comes back. And then there's significant weight loss that is not explained by any efforts on your part, or it could actually be significant weight gain because we're eating more to mask feelings of feeling depressed and just turn into food to kind of help solve our problems. And that's another thing that with sadness, we might go a day and we don't really feel like eating. But with depression, we don't feel like eating, and we may not even pay attention to the signals and signs that our body's giving us that we're hungry. We may not even have those signals that we're hungry. Or like I said, we may just overeat, eating and eating and eating just to try to mask that feeling and that pain that we get when we're depressed. And then fatigue, or just a loss of energy, and that happens like all day, like nearly the entire day. You're just so tired and lifeless, and you have no energy to actually even get out of the bed sometimes. You may not bathe, you may not brush your teeth, you may not even comb your hair. This goes on for days and days at a time. It's not like with sadness, where if you're in the bed crying all day because you broke up with your boyfriend and you just don't feel like getting out of the bed, but the next day you get out of the bed because it's something fun going on and you really want to be a part of that, so you snap yourself out of it. With depression, there is no snapping yourself out of anything that you're feeling because it's just not physically possible. In addition to these feelings, the ones that I've already mentioned, there may be feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt. I mean, you may be feeling like you're just not worthy to be alive. You may be experiencing guilt from something that happened years ago, and now it's just coming to the forefront of your mind, and you're not really sure why this thought is continuing to recur, but it's causing you to feel like you're just not worthy. And no one is going to accept you. So you judge yourself more than anyone ever could, because you're the one that's dealing and suffering with whatever it is that's going through your mind that is really unfounded. It's an unfounded belief, but you can't seem to shake it. And with sadness, that's not something that you're going to dwell on. If you're feeling guilty or you're feeling unworthy, those are things that pass in a moment. Those are things that, yes, you may think about. We've all felt guilt at some point for something we've said or something we've done to somebody. But eventually we get over it because we know we just can't stay there. And with depression, you get stuck. You get stuck in feeling like you just are not worthy to even be breathing in the same space that other people are on an everyday basis. You just don't feel like you deserve it. And then you have this diminished ability to even think for yourself. You don't even want to think for yourself. You get to a point to where you'd rather just be mindless and lay around in the bed and just not even focus on what needs to be done. You could care less what needs to be done. You're not cleaning your house. You don't even care to go to your job. You don't really care to be around people. And if you are, you're lifeless because you have no care for thinking about anything. And people may start to notice that. And that's something that kind of lingers on, and then people may start to question and wonder, are you okay? Because you don't seem to be thinking the way you normally do. Your thoughts are off. Your whole thought process is off because there is no thought process. And people start to notice that. And then finally, you may have these recurring thoughts of death, harming yourself, committing suicide, just simply not being here. Because if you stay in that place of feeling unworthy for too long, you'll then ultimately get to this feeling of not needing or wanting to be alive. And that's when it could potentially be too late. We don't want it to get to that point. That's why we want to make sure that you talk to somebody. If you're not at a point or a stage in your life where you're ready to seek therapy, call this hotline number. If you know someone who's suffering or appears to be suffering from depression, you don't have to try to fix it for them, but be there for them by letting them know that you have a number that you could share with them, or that you're just there for support. And if they would like to talk about their problems, you're there for them. But try to get help for them, especially if they verbalize the fact that they don't want to be here anymore. Make sure you're sharing that information with someone else so that they can get the help they need, and it's not something that you have to live with by yourself. And if it's you that's going through any of these symptoms, no matter if it's 3 or 4 or all 8 of the symptoms, make sure you're talking to someone. Don't be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There is help available for you. Contact your insurance company, check to see if there's services available in your area for you to talk to somebody. Many therapists have sliding scale fees, so it's not as expensive as you may think it is to actually see a therapist. And then there's free services in different states. Contact your community service board, reach out to them. There are options available for you. Don't feel like you're alone. You do not have to try to figure out what it is you're going through or self-diagnose or brush it off as simply just being sadness. Think about some of these things that I listed. If you're experiencing these things, contact somebody. My name's Joanna M. Cameron. I'll be here, same place next week. Bye for now.